Overthinking and pessimism become vicious cycles for many of us in our environment of continual distraction and unending self-criticism. When you let your mind wander, it will constantly make judgments about your life, exaggerating your concerns and making problems where none exist. This insightful investigation will reveal the origins of this ubiquitous self-talk and its impact on our contentment. Come explore the life-changing art of mindfulness with us as we show you how to free yourself from negative thought patterns and live a happier, more tranquil life. Overthinking has become more common as a result of thinking slow but steady growth. When you lie in bed fretting, for example, you're engaging in a kind of needless thinking that creates issues that don't actually exist. A great deal of needless misery is produced by it. Unwanted, undesirable, and frequently harmful mental processes are responsible for a great deal of people's misery. Yet they are blissfully unaware of this. To practice mindfulness, one must first become aware of the fact that they are not alone in having an internal monologue that critiques their every move and the world around them. It's the familiar practice of talking to oneself, or self-talk, as it is commonly known. There are moments when you address oneself using the first person, I. People who engage in self-dialogue often use the pronoun you. Now you may scold yourself for your actions and tell yourself, you shouldn't have done that. After that, you'll think, yes, but I couldn't help it. The question, why can't I get out of my self-talk, may even arise in a third voice. Even it is self-talk, yet it's incredible. Something extremely fundamental and easy to understand is the first thing, which I refer to as the first awakening or spiritual awakening. Finding out that you have an inner voice that speaks to you constantly, albeit quietly, is what it is. If it makes a constant, audible noise while no one is nearby, you are officially mad. However, that is only the case when said aloud. In fact, the vast majority of people experience it internally and are not deemed mad. Rather, it is regarded as typical. The two are basically interchangeable, though. On occasion, while you're paying attention to them, you might hear a man muttering as he walks down the street. Finally, you remark, "Oh, he's really insane." It is possible, though, that you are engaging in the same thought process, albeit silently. Why didn't I? I should have said that. Why didn't I say that? Next time he does that, I'll know exactly what I'm going to reply. It continues indefinitely. You could also start to worry as you sleep. You find yourself thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen upon waking up? What if that doesn't work and that goes wrong? And what if he does that? As one idea sparks another and another and another, the physical body is unable to differentiate between real-life events and mental abstractions. Consequently, the body reacts to every scary thought when you're feeling afraid. Well, there you have it. You experience an emotional reaction because your body does. Emotions tell you, I am in danger. Since your body can't tell the difference between real events and thoughts, this poses a real threat. As a result, you experience negative emotions such as fear, worry, and agitation. The cumulative effect of engaging in such fruitless, dysfunctional, and damaging thought patterns over an extended period of time weakens the immune system. The link between mental health and physical well-being is being recognized even by conventional medical practices. They flat out rejected it before. They focused solely on your physical characteristics and one ailment within your body. Where is the problem with that specific organ? There are experts in each field within conventional medicine. For example, I'm a specialist for the liver, a specialist for this and that. They ignore not just the full body but also the full person, which consists of the mind and spirit. Finding out that you have a voice in your head that mostly talks to yourself is the first and most crucial step. Interestingly, many people's internal monologues aren't necessarily pessimistic, yet many find more bad than positive aspects to it. One pleasant thing that occurred yesterday, like going to a lovely reunion or seeing a breathtaking sunset, can be recalled today. Thoughts like, the sunset was breathtaking, or "our conversation yesterday was pleasant" can cross your mind. Although pleasant events are fleeting in your mind. But when bad things happen, as when someone disrespects you or ignores you, it's easy to start blaming others and wondering why they don't do what you want them to. Negative thoughts can consume your mind for far longer than happy ones. It would appear that, compared to positive events, bad ones provide far more fodder for fruitless mental gymnastics. Negativity occupies a large portion of many people's mental processes. Some people have a completely negative outlook, but it's doubtful that they would be hired by this organization. I say this because your mental and emotional states, as well as your primary state of consciousness, are related to your social circle, your physical location, and your experiences. A person's social circle of friends, workplace, and life events all have an impact on their mental and emotional health, albeit this connection isn't always obvious. So if you stay in a bad mood for a while, bad things will come to you. But there's no way to know for sure unless you try. Rest assured, I am not stating, believe me. The experience has taught me this. I was a little kid when I first found out about this. What happens to me is related to what I think about, I've found. When I was 17 years old, I discovered a book that someone had left with us, and in it, I read about the mind for the very first time. I had no idea that my pessimistic outlook stemmed from my troubled upbringing until recently. Because I had a difficult upbringing, my mind was hardwired to dwell on the negative aspects of my life. Of course, terrible things always happen to you, don't they? Was a remark that kept popping into my head whenever something negative occurred to me. These things will inevitably happen to you. Thus, I convinced myself that terrible things would inevitably happen to me. And that is exactly what transpired. The first spiritual awakening may be the realization that your mind is always working. The realization that a bulk of one's mental processes are negative can hit some people like a ton of bricks. The most important thing is to realize that this natural, never-ending mental chatter isn't always beneficial. Thinking will always be present. It's impossible to eradicate it. The thing is, are you conscious of what you're thinking? Are you able to recognize when your mind is engaged in mindless activities? Some thoughts may keep popping into your head, and you may be able to identify them. It could be easier to notice in other people than in yourself. You could be prepared for some of your relatives' comments during Thanksgiving dinner this year because they've said the same thing for the past 5 or even 10 years. You can expect to hear their critical opinions about you or someone else voiced once again next week. Recognizing your own habitual thinking patterns is more challenging than seeing others who seem to be engrossed in them. A wise person once said, "Self-knowledge is the most difficult knowledge." Other people are simpler to notice. However, if you are able to recognize a reoccurring idea as it is occurring to you, you may be able to break free from it. It keeps happening, you realize, as you begin to pay attention to your thoughts. Just being aware that you have a voice and thoughts within your mind constitutes this witnessing presence. It is not a thought. Some of those thoughts are negative, and you come to the realization that many of them, like worry, are not only unneeded, but also make your life more difficult. The majority of individuals suffer from what I term a cluttered mind, in which they are utterly oblivious to the constant flow of thoughts and opinions running through their heads. It seems to never end. They pass snap judgments on everyone they meet. Every time they meet something new, they feel compelled to declare, "I'm against it," or "I dislike it." They quickly form an opinion and start to associate with it. If you often feel inadequate, unfulfilled, or not enough, and you think that soaking up all the world has to offer is the way to overcome these feelings, you may be surprised to learn that this is not always the case. Spiritual practice and enlightenment are essential for getting beyond that place of deficiency or neediness. Pay attention to the realization that you are. Only there can you transcend that condition of deficiency, the ego. Find out who you really are in your core, not just in relation to other people. As we wrap off our investigation into the nature of ideas, keep in mind that becoming aware of your internal monologue is only the first step. Being an active participant in your mental landscape is possible through the practice of mindfulness and cultivation of awareness rather than a passive observer. Embrace the path to serenity and understanding, and let go of the weight of unneeded negativity. Subscribing will provide you with more insights and practical ideas on how to cultivate a better mentality and cultivate inner tranquility.